Jesse,
Yes.
are you opening up an after-hours club in Greenpoint? That's where it looks like where you are.
Oh, I'm actually at Holy Schnitzel on the Upper West Side.
Oh yeah, okay.
How'd you get there so fast?
I drive very, very fast.
Why
We had
you
to
in
drop
Holy
something off here, so
Schnitzel?
we figured we'd go out to eat, and we're the only ones here.
Well,
So
you know,
nice.
I mean, how you eating, man? That means you didn't eat enough on Shabbos.
Oh, should have. I had a kazayas of bread.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right.
So just tell Shalom we missed it.
I'll tell him. Oh, so there was no Shalom Zachar.
Well, I made in my house a little bit for the block. I didn't want to make a big thing.
I made Shalom Zachar too, Zev.
I'm sure. How many? I had actually l'chaim, a real l'chaim.
I had a beer and I had arbis. Yeah.
Okay, good. Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem, very nice.
And I learned a little bit.
All right, let's get going. We waited long enough for Oilam to get on because we got yeah.
What do you call it? Rivka Bas Shmuel. My mother's Yotze was today.
Oh, Rivka Shmuel, Shabbat Aliyah.
Amen.
Okay, so we're at the Mishna on the top of Pedal and Amud Aleph. Yeah. Yeah, so Kol HaNechel B'Shor HaGodol. Now we're talking about it's a continuation of what we were discussing before, right? That which parts of the animal can be included on for the people's kazesin. So Kol HaNechel B'Shor HaGodol, anything that gets eaten in a Shor HaGodol, Yoichel B'Gedi Harach, it can be eaten with in a soft gedi, meaning in a small animal, right? Meaning if it's soft enough to be eaten in a large animal, like in an ox, like in a shor, so the same thing would be by a small animal. And the tops of the, I don't know who, we have any of the meat people on? I don't think so. Jofty Katz, maybe, I don't know. Rashi Knafayim is the shoulder blades, and the Sachsuchim is like cartilage, right? Tibrus, the Rashi says. Rashi says Lashon Tibrus, right? Okay, whatever it is, those are considered edible. So Zogdim what Rabba Rami. Rabba asked the Sira, Tanan Kola Nechel B'Shor HaGodol Yochel B'Gedi Harach. Anything that gets eaten in a Shor HaGodol could be eaten in a Gedi that's Harach. Also, I wasn't sure. Is Gedi Harach means a soft goat, right? Is that every goat is soft, or is that a goat that's soft? Dafka goat that's soft, but if there's a goat that's not, meaning it's an old goat, then it's not.
It has to be ben shenasli. So it's carbon Pesach.
No, that's true, but so that's a code word for saying that it's a year old.
I think so.
Yeah, or do you have to give a what's it called, when they trade a player, right? You got to get a physical. So you got to give a physical to every gedi to see if it's soft, it's not soft. Is that a new chumrah we got to do now before the current Pesach? Another one. That together with the pomegranate branches and all the other stuff that
goat
we're
meat in
adding
general, it's supposed to be very tough. Gamey.
I'm saying, so the default is that it's soft and you have to prove that it's not, or do you have to prove each time that it's soft? I just wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what it means. I thought it meant that every gedi is rach. But
I always thought that since it's a yearling, they're going to be very young and very soft.
Oh, so you're saying that it's just a description. If you have it, at least
it's a metzias within a yearling. It's like a veal is white because it's the way it's created.
Jesse, order a lamb kebab.
Yeah, it's does Holy Schnitzel sell meat?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
Holy
that's
Schnitzel.
what,
It's not
that's
like
what the
Holy
name
Maybe
is.
it's only Schnitzel. Maybe it's only Schnitzel.
Yeah.
Ach, weiß nicht.
Okay.
Anyways, okay. So Rabba Rami Tanan Kol HaNechel B'Shor HaGodol Yochel B'Gedi Harach. Anything that gets eaten with a Shor HaGodol can be eaten with the Gedi Harach. And if it doesn't get eaten, then not. Ema seifa. But what about the seifa rashtei knafayim v'sachsuchim? Right, so the shoulder blades and the cartilage, right? That's the way the article touches. Those are not edible in the shara gadol. Meaning, so Yerusha says that whatever gets eaten in the shara gadol is good by the gidi, and the rashtei knafayim v'sachsuchim are okay. But it's a stira. It's a stira just in the mitzias. It's a stira, because we know that what's it called? The rashtei knafayim and v'sachsuchim are not edible in an ox. So it means if it's not edible in an ox, it's not edible in a gedi. But we just said, but rashtei knafayim v'sachsuchim work. Ela tanoi. So the Gemara answers, it must be a machlokes Tanna. Anything that's eaten in the shara gadol can be eaten in the gedi arach. And if it's not eaten, then not. And there's a yeshayim that even the rashtei knafayim and the sachsuchim can be eaten in a goat, right? Because by which we're going to see in a soon, that because you can make them edible by cooking them for a long time. You cook them for a long time, and then theoretically they become edible, right? So then it would be fine. That's one teretz. Rabbi Amar Mahen Katani. It's teaching you what are these, meaning Katani. Kol hanecha b'shara gadol b'shilka. Anything that can be eaten in a shara gadol with shilka is a long cooking shlokas. Yochel b'gdi arach b'tzli can be eaten with a goat, a soft goat, when it's roasted. Umahen rashtei knafayim. Umahen, and what are they? Rashtei knafayim v'sachsuchim. Those are the type of things that you can cook for a long time and then they'll be edible. Tanya Kav say the Rava. Kol hanecha b'shara gadol b'shilka yochel b'gdi arach b'tzli. Anything that would require long-term cooking in a shar, you can even do it with roasted, which is obviously not a long-term cooking. And what are they? It's rashtei knafayim sachsuchim, but gidin harachin, soft gidin, that's considered like straight up basar. Fine. So then itmar gidin shesayf and lahakshis. So you have interesting machlokes in Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. If you have gidin, they're going to get hard, right? Rashi says it's talking about in the neck, like we had Friday or Thursday. Well, Thursday, right? It's talking about in the neck, right? So in a goat and a teleh, they're soft, Rashi says. But once they get old, they end up getting hard. Right? So Rabbi Yochanan amar nimnin alein b'Pesach. You can count them for Pesach, right? Because right now they're soft. They are not counted for Pesach. We go after it now. Right? Do we look at it now, or do we look at it the way it can eventually be? Yeah. So that's a machlokes. Rabbi Yochanan has the kasha to Rabbi Yochanan. From our Mishna, right? Whatever can be eaten in a shara gadol can be eaten in a shara arach. Umahin rashtei knafayim v'sachsuchim. And what are they? It's rashtei knafayim v'sachsuchim. Hani in. It sounds like only these. Aval gidin shesayf and lahakshis lay. Right? But the gidin that in the end are going to be hard, then not. So Malay Tana. So we learned hani huadin lahanoch. No, it's just the Mishnah said those as an example, but it's a lot of it. Can be other gidin too. Hani my timer, right? Why are these? The hamas achli b'shara gadol b'shilkas, because they could be eaten in a large goat, a large shar. When they're cooked, hanach nami b'sachli b'shara gadol b'shilka. So these also can be eaten with the shara gadol b'shilka. So I'm related to Yimri Rebbi Avin. Kiyosas will come the Rebbi Vo. When you go in front of Rebbi Vo, Ramile, ask him a stira. Be Amar Rabbi Yochanan Gidin Shesayf and Lahakshis Nimna Leim Pesach. Does Rabbi Yochanan really hold that the gidin that are going to end up getting hard in the animal you can use as a korban pesach, you can count as a kizayis for the korban pesach? I'm a basar hashtaz linon, and you see you go now because now they're soft, even though eventually they're going to get hard. Reish Lakish asked the kash from Rabbi Yochanan, the Gemara in Chulin, or haroish shal egel, the skin, the soft skin of the head of a calf, right? Harach ma'ush yitame. What's the din? Do they become tamei? Right? Now this is a interesting machlokes here, right? Meaning as long as this egel is young, and it nurses. So therefore, its head, the skin of its head remains soft. I don't know what the connection is, but the skin of its head is soft, and therefore it could be eaten, right? But once it stops nursing, then it gets hard. Yeah? So food, we know food is makabel tumah. But anything other than food, an animal is not makabel tumah because it's not food. Food is makabel tumah. Right? So this thing, do we look at this skin of the head of this calf as food or not? If it's food, it could become tamei. If it's not food, then the only way for it to become tamei is now to take the skin and make it into a kli. Then it can become tamei. Right? So here we're saying, Or haroy shel egel harach. He asked him, what's the story with the soft meat? Mao sheyitama, can it become tamei? Because eventually it's going to get hard. And you can make it into a kli. He says it doesn't become tamei. Why not? Because it's not a kli. You see that he goes in the end, because right now it should be considered food. It's soft now, right? He asked him about the head right now when it's nursing. It should be considered soft. So it should be considered tamei. But no, because it's eventually going to get hard, so it's not tamei until you make it into a kli. Fine. So that was his kasha. So it's a steer whether you go with the way the skin is now or whether it's going to be later. Whoever asked this question is not chayshid for what he grinds. Right? Meaning he's just shooting out questions without thinking about it. Right? Didn't Rabbi Yochanan answer Reish Lakish? Don't stress me out. I said it b'lashon yochid. When I said over this din, he said I was saying it according to a das yochid. I was not saying this din that it's the way we paskin. I was saying it according to a das yochid. So since it's a das yochid, therefore it's going to be I didn't mean to paskin that way. Just because he said it over as a davar pashit, so they thought, okay, it means he paskin that way. But no, he says he did not mean to paskin that way. So don't ask me kashas on that. Okay, so that's the machlokes Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish over the long term. Meaning, do you look at it like it's the way it's eventually going to be, or do you look at it the way it is right now? Fine. Zok the Mishna. Hashover aseh etzem. Now we're back to the broken bones of the korban Pesach. Hashover aseh etzem b'Pesach tahor. If you break the bone of the korban Pesach that's tahor hareza loika arbaim, you get 40 malkus. Aval hamaiser b'tahor v'hashover b'tamei ain't loika esarbaim. But what's left over with the tahor, meaning Nosar, which is of a tahor animal, v'hashover, meaning the meat was tahor, v'hashover b'tamei, and if you break the bone of a tamei ain't loika esarbaim, you don't get malkus. Right. So again, shviras, according to the Mishna, breaking the bone of the korban Pesach is only a problem when it's tahor. When it's tamei, there's no, you don't get malkus. And Nosar, you never get malkus for, which we already had, which we're going to see in the Gemara. So Gemara sagt the Gemara, Bishlama, the frekti Gemara, Bishlama Meiser betar. So it's good, Nosar with tar that you don't get malkus. Tani lois siru menu ad biker. Don't leave it over till the morning. Va Nosar menu ad biker ba'esh tisraifu. Right, whatever's left over, you burn it. Bahakasav litin aseh achar lois aseh. The pasuk's giving you a mitzvah to say after the loisa say loimer shein like it that you don't get malkus. Rebbi Yehuda. That's Rebbi Yehuda's shita. Rabbi Yaakov Omer loimer hashem was there. That's not the reason. Elam mishum dahavali lav shein by ma'isa. Vein like a love. It's a lav shein by ma'isa. Leaving something over. You didn't do an action, right? You didn't do an isser. What'd you do? You just didn't eat the meat. Right? But how come? If you break a bone of the korban Pesach when it's tamei, how do you know? It says don't break the bone. Bay bekasher v'loy b'pasel. Bay means in the kosher and not in the pasel. So Tana Rabbanan, the etzem leisish b'rubai, bay bekasher v'loy b'pasel. Like the diuk from bay is telling you that only in a kosher korban Pesach is it a problem and not a pasel. Rebbi Omer b'bayis echad. Right? We're going to compare. It says he has to be eaten in one house, and he shouldn't break the bone.
Excuse me.
Right? Yeah.
If a person eats it after chatzos, does he get malkus mardus?
After chatzos, the Nosar?
The korban Pesach, they come said it's nicer now. So the Torah says it's not nice until the morning. Come said you can't eat it anymore after chatzos.
Right, because they
So
made it.
if he ate it after chatzos,
I hear. Is it I don't know. I'm not sure.
and if that's the only kazayas he ate was after chatzos. Did they say that?
I don't know. I don't because it's a harchaka.
Yeah.
It's a harchaka. But I don't know. I'm not sure if you get malkus.
Okay,
Not sure. Yeah. So, anyways, again, to Tanabon ve'etzem l'sishru by b'kasher v'loy b'pasel. Right? Rebbi Yomer, he says different. B'bayas echad yoichel ve'etzem l'sishru by. It says eat the korban Pesach in one house. Right? You can't go to multiple houses. Right? We said that on Friday. No Pesach hopping. Right? And etzem l'sishru by. You're not allowed to break the bone. Kol haroy la'achila yesh b'mishum shviras etzem. Anything that's fitting to eat, then you're not allowed to break the bone. But if it's not fitting to eat, then you can't eat the bone. You're not chayav breaking the bone. So if it's a korban that's tamei, it's obviously not edible. So therefore you're not chayav for breaking the bone. Okay, so that's his reason.
Hey!
My beinayu. What's the difference between them? The Pesach that comes bituma is the difference between them, right? The mandam are kosher, so the one it says that that's kosher, right? That it's only for a kosher animal. So on to Amud high puzzle. This is puzzle. The mandam are roy lachila. The one that says it's roy lachila. Hanami roy lachilahu. This is also roy lachila, right? Meaning a korban that's tamei is roy la'achila. If you bring the korban Pesach b'tumah, then lamaisa you are allowed to eat it b'tumah. That's what we said. So meaning normally you would think that a korban that's tamei is a problem, but it's not. A korban Pesach is not a problem. So therefore the nafkamina between the two reasons would be tamei. Rabbi Yosef Amar ki gavna. In this case, right? Everybody holds there's no shviras etzem, right? The Rebbi la kule kaasi because Rebbi's coming to be mekel. V'hai hapaselhu, right? And this one it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle of tumah. So therefore everybody holds that it doesn't have the problem of breaking the bone. So what is the difference between them? Meaning he's saying that Rebbi would agree. Right, so then what's the difference between it's if it had a shasa kosher, meaning it was kosher once and then became puzzle. That's the difference. Amandom are kosher, according to one that says it's kosher hakosheru. Right, so then it's kosher. The mandom are roy la'achila needs to be roy la'achila. Hashta lav roy la'achilahu. It's not roy la'achila now because lamaisa it's puzzle. So we don't care that it had a shasa kosher. Abaye says no. When it had a shasa kosher and then it became tamei, it's still not a problem of breaking. If you break the bone, it's not a problem. My timer. What's the reason? Hashta hamiyah so puzzle. Right now it's puzzle. Who cares that it was once kosher? Right now the korban is puzzle. Korban Pesach is puzzle. So therefore you have to consider it puzzle, and therefore broken bone is not a problem. What happens if you broke the bone during the day, meaning you're not supposed to eat the korban Pesach till the night. You shechted the korban Pesach after chatzos, right? Then you're not supposed to eat it till the night, and then you broke the bone during the day when it's not yet the time for eating it. The mandam are kosher hakosheru. The one that says that it needs to be kosher, it's a kosher korban Pesach, so it's a problem. The mandam are roy la'achila. The one that says it has to be roy la'achila hashtala barachilu. You're not allowed to eat the korban Pesach on erev Pesach, so it's not a barachila. Therefore, you would be potter if you broke the bone. Fine. So those are three pshatim in the difference between those shitas. Fine. Meisvei. So they asked the Kashvan of braysa, Rebbi Omer Nimnan al Mayach Sheberosh. You're allowed to count somebody on just based on the marrow in the head. Meaning, you're allowed. I mean, we said you can count as many. You can, as long as it's a kezayis per person, you're allowed to add as many people onto the korban Pesach, right? So what about you already used up all the kezayisim? I'm just saying an example, but it doesn't have to be the case. But then a guy comes, I have nobody else. Can I get in? So you think, okay, let's include him on the marrow and the myrich that's in the head of the animal. So you're allowed to, right? Well, Rebbi says that you're allowed to. But you're not allowed to count the marrow that's in the thigh. Why? Go ahead.
Is this Ma'ich Shabarosh the brain?
That's what I think.
I from what I'm reading, and I'm reading, it says the brain. Daf Yomi
Yeah, looks like that from Rashi.
The article says, i.e. the brain. So I don't know if it means just the brain.
What's the difference?
It does mean brain. It means the brain. There's no marrow in the head bone.
Oh, I was just saying head just to touch it. I didn't give it much thought. Yeah, I wasn't using my brain. What should I tell you? Right?
This is one of those cases. This is a case where the last person
out
you
of the
said.
straw through the nose.
No, we're going to discuss that. Okay, right.
Yeah.
This is a case where you say, if I only had a brain. And that's
Very
the
good.
problem.
Very great. Isn't there a name
Sorry.
for brains? Animal? Isn't there a name for it?
No.
Is it sweetbread?
Sweet
What's
bread,
sweetbread?
right.
Sweetbread.
No,
Is that
sweetbread
moist?
is the thalamus gland, not the brain.
Really?
Not the brain?
Never was the brain. No. Thymus and thalamus glands.
I hear. Okay, whatever it is. So, Mesa Rebbi, you're allowed to count somebody on the marrow in the brain. But you're not allowed to be counted on the marrow that's in the thigh. What you can do is you can say, goyroi means you roll it literally. I guess it's really good. I mean, basically there's
You draw it
holes
out.
Yeah, you can pull it out.
This is the COVID Gemara. It's a COVID Gemara. The test. They went all the way up to the brain.
Right. So whatever it is, there's enough. I don't know why it has to dafka be the nose. Why can't it be the ears?
There's a blockage from the ears. It doesn't go directly to the brain.
There's a very thin membrane. Right. There's a thin membrane
that blocks it. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Okay.
If you give the cow enough cocaine, it'll make a hole in the membrane.
Okay, so basically you can get the marrow out of there without breaking the bone. That's the point. But if you hold that, you could break the bones on Erev Pesach. Break the thigh bone, obviously, on Erev Pesach. Take out the marrow. Now you can use it. So Abaye said back, according to you, even at night, Naisi gumrasa v'nechos alei v'nikla. Take a gumrasa is coals, Rashi says. Put it on the bone, and then it's going to burn. It'll burn a hole in it, right? V'nifka l'mayach didei, and then take out the mayach. V'nimniala Tanya, because we said anybody who burns the bones, and somebody who cuts the gidin, that's not considered breaking the bones. Meaning, so you want to make a hole in it. What are you going to say? What are you going to say?
The name of lachem is only breaking the bone and eating it. Anything else is not. You still ben melech.
I guess that's. I don't know. I guess that's yeah.
It don't seem that. I guess I'm not a ben melech. It don't seem that way to me. But okay.
I hear. Now another thing is Shia Novak asked this to me a couple of weeks ago. He was like, he Googled how hot it is in order to melt down a bone. It's got to be like, I don't know, how hot did he say? 900, 1100 degrees?
Wild. Yeah, over 1,000. Over 1,000. So then, I mean, this coal, I know they say coals are very hot, but I don't know if, it's got to be very hot to burn a hole through the thigh bone.
It could be the heat will crack the bone before it melts it.
So that's a risk, which we'll see later. Right, that's a risk.
Yeah.
So let's see. Abaya. So Elamayas, we're going to say Abaya Amar Mashum Poka. Abaya is going to say because maybe it'll get cracked, right? And you don't want that. And Rava Amar Mishum Hefset Kodshim because you're wasting Kodshim. The Kamafset Lebi Yadayim because you're making it lost with the hands. Why Dilma Achel Nurum Mayach Didei? Because maybe your fire is going to burn up some of the mayach. When the coal is sitting on the bone and it's burning through the bone, you might end up burning through some mayach. So maybe Yaim. So I might do this some side. So nami. So then when it's daytime too, we're gonna make a gzeira maybe fine. Okay, so that's why that's not gonna work. Fine. Rapapa Amar Rav Papa said a different shot. Everybody that's saying in this case, right? But and meaning it's still daytime, everybody holds that it does have shviras etzem. My timer la'orta mechsi la'achila. Meaning we were assuming that it's not yet roy la'achila, so therefore breaking the bone is not a problem. So Rav Papa is saying, no, that's considered roy la'achila. You just can't eat it yet, but once the time comes, another couple of hours, once it's nightfall, then it's going to be roy la'achila. Ella, be'aver sheyatza miktsasa k'miv. We were talking about a aver, right? One of the limbs or one of the bones that went out of Yerushalayim, right? So now manda amar kosher hakosher, the one that says it's kosher, it's kosher, right? Manda amar roy la'achila, the one that says roy la'achila, halai barachilahu. It's not barachila because it went out. Yeah, so therefore there's going to be no isser in the breaking it. Kidetani Rebbi Shmuel ben Nosar Rebbi Yochanan ben Brayka Aimer aver sheyatza miktsasai. An aver that part of it went out for shavroy and it got broken. There is no isser of broken bones, of breaking the bone. Now we're gonna have, this is like a rapid fire terutzim. It's ended up being that we're gonna have 8 different terutzim to this kasha, right? In that case, everybody holds there's no isser shviras etzem. The high aver who. The high aver hapasalu. This aver is considered pasal. So why should you be chayav for breaking the bone? Elashviras etzem bin no ikabeinayu. Breaking the bone of a korban Pesach that was only literally means raw, but it doesn't mean raw. It means it's not fully cooked. Ma'adam kosher. The one that says the Tana said that it only applies to things that are kosher. Hakosher. It's kosher. Ma'adam roy la'achila. And the Ma'adam says the roy la'achila, hashta eina roy la'achila. Right now, it's not roy la'achila. Rav Nachman, right? Because it's not. You can't eat it. No, you have to wait till it's. You have to roast it. Fine. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Amar call. This is I think Teretz number 6. No, because we had a bunch before. No, everybody will hold it. That does have shviras etzem. My timer, the chazi la'achila, because it is roy la'achila. The matfilei va'achalei. Right now, it's only partially cooked, but you can roast it up and then eat it. The breaking of the tail, right? The fatty part of the tail is the difference. The mandam are kosher, the one that says it's kosher, that it has to be kosher, this is kosher. The mandam are roy la'achila, ha'ain roy la'achila, the al yilukavoya salka. It's not roy la'achila. It's kosher, but nobody eats it because they're makriv it. They brought the aliyah up on the mizbeach. Rashi Yomar. No, in this case, everybody's going to hold it doesn't have the isser of breaking the bone. It's not roy la'achila klal because nobody eats it. You have to burn it. So how can you call that roy la'achila? The difference is, it's a limb that doesn't have a kizayis worth of basar on it. The one that says it's kosher, it's kosher. The minimum amount that you need is a kizayis, and you don't have a kizayis here. Last teretz. Ravina Amar Kolki Agavna less by Bishum Shviras Etzim. In that case where it's less than a kizayis on the bone, there's no problem Shviras Etzim to be in shir achila. You need a shir achila and you don't have it. Ela Ever She'ena Lov Kizayis Basa B'Makom Zeh, V'Yesh Lov Kizayis Basa B'Makom Acher. We're talking about a bone that has a kizayis in one area, right? But it has in another part. Yeah, so meaning the part of the meat is peeled off. So you need at least a kizayis in the place that you broke the bone, and that you don't have. Meaning the area there was meat on the bone more than a kizayis. Then the guy started eating the meat off the bone, right? And then he cracked the bone in the part where there was no longer any meat. So therefore, there was no kizayis where he broke it, but there was a kizayis on that bone. So then that's where the machlokes is. Fine. So those are 8 shatim, and the difference between Rava, Tanakama, and Rebbi, whether it has to be kosher or roy la'achila for the bone to be chayav, for the bone to be broken.
Oh, that's what has it down. No.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so Tanya ka'arba minai. We have a braysa that teaches like 4 other terutzim. The Tanya, Rebbi Amar Bayas Echad Yoichel, the Etzem Leisish Beruba. It says you should eat the korban Pesach in one house, and the Etzem should not be broken. Ala kosher hu chayav, bein a chayav ala apostle. You kosher, you're on the kosher, you chayav, you're not chayav on apostle. Chaysel l'shasa kosher, benifso b'shasa achila. If it was kosher and then it became apostle b'shasa achila, ein by mishum shviras etzem. There's no shviras etzem. Yesh by shir achila. If it has a shir achila, yesh by mishum shviras etzem, then there's a problem of breaking the bone. Ein by shir achila, ein by mishum shviras etzem. Haroy the mizbeach, ein by mishum shviras etzem. Anything that's roy to the mizbeach does not have the problem of broken bone, right? Breaking the bone, that's the fatty tail. That's the teretz of that. B'shas achila yesh by mishum shviras etzem. B'shas achila does have mishum shviras etzem. Shaloi b'shas achila ain't by mishum shviras etzem, and shaloi b'shas achila does not have mishum shviras etzem. So for the terutzim fit in with these braysas, right? Should we stop here? Or?
It's interesting. It looks like one Tana said all of those things, right?
It seems like it. Yeah, it's one braysa.
And the lashon of all the Amiroim was kuli almalei plig, and the other one was wrong. I mean, you see from the Amiroim, they had a machlokes about it, but with the Tanoim, it was one Tana that agreed to all four. How does that stem with the Amiroim?
And a chanami, I think it's a kasha on the other Amiroim. It's a kasha on the other Amiroim. That's what I think.
Big kasha. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we'll stop here because this next kasha takes us. 1 second. We're going to stop here because the next kasha takes us into the next Amud. So a good tavach, everybody, and a good yar. And Jesse, drive safe. All right. Yeah, what are you saying, Gershon?
Working on it.
Even the
Even
the Amiroim that said these answers, even they're wrong.
Why?
Because they said about the other ones that it's not true. I know I have to go through them all again and see the Lashonis. But Kuli Alma yes, let me Koki Hai Gavni, Kuli Alma yes, let me shviras etzem.
Right.
Yeah, you had to watch them a whole bunch of times.
Right. So, but that's so. Isn't that what any time you have a braysa?
The what?
That anytime there's a braysa that's like one amayra, so the other amayra has a kasha.
Yeah, but here you have a braysa that's like 4 amiroim, but it's a kasha on those 4 amiroim just as much as it's a kasha on the other ones.
Right.
Because the 4 amiroim that said these answers also said that the other 3 in the braysa are wrong.
Right.
So this braysa is going to be a kasha on every single amayra that answered so far.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting.
And a chanami, right. Right, but that's, it's, I mean, do all these cases stem with each other?
What, in the braysa?
Yeah, I didn't have the head to go through each one and say one
I mean,
second.
it's not.
How did he say
One's
all
the
of them?
aliyah. One's the aliyah. That's not fair. Just take the aliyah off. One's shir achila.
Right.
1 second. Yes. And if I have a apostle, ishasa kosher. That's the first one. Apostle ishasa kosher v'nitzvah, and then you have shir, and then you have shir achila. Yeah, they're not fair on each other. Roilim is Beya, and
one is outside the territory, outside, right? Partially outside. One is that pertains to the breaking of the bone while it's not yet the 14th of Nisan.
No, in the braysa.
Abaya's answer.
No, I'm looking at the braysa. The braysa's answers are not. Yeah. I mean, I'd have to go through the whole Gemara, figuring out why each Amira said that the previous ones were wrong. In other words, if they're learning pshat in the pasuk differently, then it's going to be shver. The braysa might be shver too.
I hear. I don't know.
Kosher, if you learn pshat in the pasuk, that it means whatever will be kosher is kosher now, even though it's not kosher now, then you have a problem saying the yoin is not an answer anymore.
Right.
If you have to learn pshat one way or the other in the pasuk, then the braysa might be a spirit to itself.
Right. I hear. I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't much of Shabbos. I could stick with it, but I got to get off because I got the ladies coming on, and then we got.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think, Shira, tonight? What's in the oven?
Byrer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'm totally not. I'm not even sure yet what I'm going to talk about. It's going to be whatever. Maybe come on and listen and text me when I make mistakes.
No way. No,
Is this going to be the monologue? Is this going to be the ladies' monologue?
Is it going to be a ladies' monologue? What does that mean?
You just talk, right? They don't.
Just me talking. It's just me talking. Yes.
What you need from Lowe's? I'll go
When?
tomorrow.
For what?
Your door?
I need a new door handle. That's all.
Just a regular door?
All right, fine. A good talk, everybody.
Oh, wait, what's wrong? What's broken with your house?
What?
What's broken with your house?
My door handle busted today.
A door? Oh, you need a door handle?
Yeah,
The front door?
front door.
Do you need a turny one, or you want to?
Careless. I could care
No
less.
key on it. There's no key.
There's no key. There's no key.
There's no lock on it.
Yeah.
Do you need it lockable or not?
Is that Avi?
So I don't need a lock on it.
Is that Avi?
Yeah.
Tell him to call me.
Call Naftali, please.
Is that telling you how to put it in?